Today on Star King Media, we will talk about the Titanic. So let's dive in. It was the largest moving object ever built by humans at the time, a symbol of luxury, power, and modern engineering. And yet, it sank on its very first trip across the Atlantic. This is the story of the RMS Titanic, a ship built to make history. But remembered for tragedy in the early 1900s, ocean travel was booming. The White Star Line, eager to compete with rival companies, planned a fleet of massive, luxurious ocean liners. The centerpiece would be the Titanic, built in Belfast, Northern Ireland. At the Harland and Wolff shipyard, construction began in 1909, involving over 15,000 workers. Titanic was over 882 feet long, stood 11 stories high, and weighed over 46,000 tons. It had 4 massive smokestacks, though only 3 worked. The 4th was added for style. Inside, the Titanic was like a floating 5-star hotel. There were fine dining rooms, a grand staircase, a gym, a squash court, a swimming pool, and even a Turkish bath. The first-class suites were so luxurious. Some rivaled the best hotel rooms in London or Paris, and beneath the glamour was cutting-edge technology. A double-bottomed hull and watertight compartments that could be sealed off if the ship was damaged. These features led people to call Titanic practically unsinkable. But even this engineering marvel had flaws. Titanic set sail on her maiden voyage on April 10, 1912, from Southampton, England. She carried more than 2,200 people, a mix of millionaires, immigrants, and working-class families. After quick stops in Cherbourg, France, and Queenstown, Ireland, she began her journey across the icy waters of the North Atlantic. The weather was calm, the sea smooth like glass. Everything seemed perfect. On board were famous names like John Jacob Astor, for one of the richest men in the world; Molly Brown, the strong-willed American, known later as the unsinkable Molly Brown; and Captain Edward Smith, a seasoned sailor on what was supposed to be his final voyage before retirement. Then came the night of April 14, 1912. Titanic had been receiving iceberg warnings throughout the day, but kept cruising near top speed around 22 knots. At 11:40 p.m., a lookout spotted an iceberg dead ahead. The crew tried to turn in reverse, but it was too late. The iceberg scraped along the starboard side of the ship, ripping open several compartments below the liner. At first, passengers felt only a slight shudder. No one realized the ship had suffered a fatal wound, but within minutes, seawater was pouring into the front of the ship. Titanic could stay afloat with 4 flooded compartments, but 6 had been breached. Captain Smith gave the dreaded order: women and children first. The ship had only 20 lifeboats, enough for about 1,200 people, but there were over 2,200 aboard. Some lifeboats were lowered only half full. People didn't believe the ship would really sink. Many stayed behind, confused or unwilling to leave the safety of the ship. But as the bow dipped lower and the icy Atlantic crept up the decks, panic set in. In the chaos, acts of heroism shined. Musicians played until the very end, trying to calm passengers. Crew members worked to load lifeboats, even as the ship tilted. Some men stepped back so women and children could live. At 2:20 a.m., just 2 hours and 40 minutes after the iceberg strike, the Titanic split in two. It disappeared beneath the freezing water. The temperature was below 28 degrees Fahrenheit, minus 2 degrees Celsius. Most who ended up in the water died within minutes from cold shock and hypothermia. Of the more than 2,200 people on board, over 1,500 died. Only about 706 survived, rescued hours later by a passing ship, the RMS Carpathia. The world was stunned. How could such a grand, unsinkable ship vanish so quickly? The disaster led to major changes in maritime law. Ships were now required to carry enough lifeboats for everyone on board. 24-hour radio watch became mandatory, and the International Ice Patrol was established to monitor dangerous icebergs. Decades, the Titanic's final resting place remained a mystery. Then in 1985, oceanographer Robert Ballard and his team discovered the wreck nearly 13,000 feet deep. about 370 miles off the coast of Newfoundland. The ship lay in two pieces, broken and rusted, but still recognizable. Since then, the Titanic has become a powerful symbol of ambition and arrogance, loss and memory. It inspired countless books, documentaries, and in 1997, it's one of the most famous films of all time. But beyond the fame, we remember the real story, a journey meant to make history, that ended in tragedy and taught the world a lesson we can never forget. Thanks for watching. Leave a like and smash that subscribe button. Until next time, keep shining.